Two of the most talked about middleweight cruisers this year come from opposite philosophies: American V-twin heritage versus Japanese engineering pragmatism. The Scout Bobber leans into raw, blacked-out attitude, while the Rebel 1100 leans into modern tech and torque. Here's how they stack up. This is where personal taste dominates. The Scout Bobber is unapologetically retro. Blacked-out finishes, front to back, chopped bobber fenders, a solo saddle-style seat, a headlight nacelle, and wide sidewall 16-inch wheels wrapped in Pirelli MT60 RS rubber. It looks like a custom build straight off the showroom floor, leaning hard into classic American cruiser imagery. The Rebel 1100 is more contemporary and minimalist, with a compact tank, blacked-out engine and frame components, and a stance that borrows more from the naked bike world than from traditional cruisers. It reads as sharper and more modern, less nostalgic. Choose the Scout Bobber for vintage-inspired attitude, the Rebel 1100 for a cleaner, contemporary aesthetic. The Scout Bobber runs a liquid-cooled 60-degree 1250cc V-twin that produces 105 horsepower and 82 pound-foot of torque at 6,300 RPM, paired exclusively with a 6-speed manual transmission. It's the more visceral, rev-happy engine of the two, rewarding riders who like to work through the gearbox and chase the tack needle toward its upper range. The Rebel 1100 counters with a smaller displacement but torque-forward 1084cc parallel twin, borrowed in spirit from Honda's Africa Twin. It makes roughly 87 horsepower at 7250 RPM and about 72 pound-foot of torque at 4750 RPM. But thanks to its 270-degree crank, that torque arrives low and stays flat, giving it a deceptively muscular feel off the line. Riders can choose a conventional 6-speed manual or Honda's automatic dual-clutch transmission, DCT, a genuinely useful option for stop-and-go riding or long highway stretches. The Scout Bobber wins on peak numbers and top-end thrill. The Rebel 1100 wins on usability, low-end grunt, and transmission flexibility. Weight is where the Rebel 1100 pulls ahead decisively. At roughly 497 pounds curb weight, it's about 45 pounds lighter than the Scout Bobber's 522-pound running weight. That difference is noticeable at a stoplight, in a parking lot, or threading through slow traffic. The Rebel simply feels smaller and easier to muscle around. The Scout Bobber's longer 61.5-inch wheelbase versus the Rebel's 59.8 inches gives it a planted, cruiser-typical stability at speed, while its 29.4-degree rake keeps steering relaxed rather than twitchy. The Rebel's slightly steeper 28-degree rake and shorter wheelbase translate to quicker, more sport-adjacent handling, a trait Honda deliberately built in, since the Rebel platform was designed to feel more like a naked standard than a traditional cruiser. Riders who want low-speed agility and a lighter feel will prefer the Rebel. Those who want highway stability and old-school cruiser plantedness will lean toward the Scout. Here, the Rebel 1100 has a genuine engineering edge. Its 43mm fork offers a generous 5.5 inches of front travel, and its dual Showa shocks, nitrogen-filled remote reservoir units with adjustable preload, deliver 3.7 inches of rear travel. That's a meaningfully more compliant, adjustable setup for absorbing rough pavement. The Scout Bobber, true to its Bobber DNA, runs a much more minimal setup. A 41mm telescopic fork with just 4.7 inches of travel up front, and dual shocks offering only 2.0 inches of travel at the rear. Indian even markets this as slammed suspension for the aggressive, low-slung look. It looks fantastic, but that stripped-down setup means less cushioning over bumps and potholes. The Rebel 1100 is the more comfortable, forgiving ride. The Scout Bobber sacrifices plushness for stance and style.
The Rebel 1100 again shows its more performance-focused engineering. A single 330mm front disc with a radial mount 4-piston caliper, plus a 256mm rear disc, both with ABS as standard. That's a serious brake package for a middleweight cruiser. The Scout Bobber uses smaller, simpler hardware. A a single 298mm front rotor with a 2-piston caliper, and a 298mm rear rotor with a single piston caliper, ABS standard as well. It's adequate for the bike's character, but it doesn't match the outright stopping power or feel of the Rebel setup. Honda's braking hardware is more advanced and confidence-inspiring, particularly for spirited riding.
Both bikes are approachable for shorter riders, but they get there differently. The Scout Bobber's unladen seat height is 26.2 inches, 25.6 inches laden, among the lowest in its class, combined with mid-mount controls and a relaxed forward lean that reinforces its bobber stance. The Rebel 1100 sits a bit taller at 27.9 inches, but its narrow seat-to-tank junction and low center of gravity make it feel shorter than the number suggests. Its rider triangle blends cruiser-style forward controls with a slightly more upright sport standard-influenced posture, comfortable for both quick errands and longer stints in the saddle. The Scout Bobber technically sits lower, but the Rebel's ergonomics are arguably more versatile for varied riding styles. The Rebel 1100 comes standard with a 5-inch color TFT display, Honda selectable torque control, multiple ride modes, cruise control, a USB-C charging port, and Honda RoadSync smartphone connectivity for navigation and hands-free communication. It's a genuinely modern electronics package for the segment. The base Scout Bobber, by contrast, ships with a simpler analog-style digital gauge cluster, speedometer, tachometer, odometer, fuel and gear indicators, and no cruise control, traction control, or ride mode standard. Those features are reserved for the pricier Scout Bobber Limited Plus Tech trim, which adds a 4-inch Ride Command touchscreen display, GPS, Bluetooth, cruise control, and traction control. Out of the box, the Rebel 1100 offers significantly more rider technology. Matching the Scout Bobber's feature set requires stepping up to a costlier trim. The Rebel 1100 carries a 3.6-gallon tank, while the Scout Bobber's is slightly smaller at 3.4 gallons. Neither bike is built for epic mileage between fill-ups, but combined with its more efficient parallel twin, the Rebel likely edges out a bit more real-world range for commuting and weekend rides. A marginal win for the Rebel, though neither bike is designed as a long-haul tourer in stock form. The Scout Bobber starts at $12,999 MSRP for the base model, climbing higher for the Limited Plus Tech trim with its added electronics. The Rebel 1100 undercuts it meaningfully, starting around $96.99 for the base manual version, with DCT and SE trims pushing toward $11,000 to $11,200. Given that the Rebel 1100 includes more standard technology, cruise control, ride modes, traction control, and a TFT display at a lower starting price, it presents a stronger value proposition on paper, even before factoring in the optional automatic transmission. The Rebel 1100 is the more affordable bike, and feature for dollar, the better value out of the box. Neither bike is objectively better. They're built for different riders. The Scout Bobber is the choice for someone who wants old-school V-twin character, low-slung bobber styling, and a bike that turns heads for its looks alone, and who doesn't mind paying more or upgrading trims for modern electronics. The Rebel 1100 is the smarter all-around package. Lighter, more technologically equipped, better braked, more comfortable, and notably cheaper, making it the pick for riders who prioritize everyday usability and value over pure heritage styling. If style is the priority, go Scout. If substance and value matter more, go Rebel.